The Bryce Mitchell saga has started warfare among MMA podcasts. Y'all know what happened when Bryce Mitchell started his own podcast. He said some things that many people would not agree with. Then a few days later, he gets invited on the Jaxxon Podcast, one of the biggest MMA podcasts in the game. And the vibe was very off, specifically from the co-host Bear. The podcast is generally like a conversation, but the vibe that this podcast had was that Bear was acting as a father to the son, being Bryce Mitchell, basically saying, we're not going to give you a platform. We're not going to let you talk about this. You have to understand this. You can't do that. It got to a point where Rampage actually had to touch him on the shoulder and be like, bro, calm down. They realized it didn't go well, so they deleted the entire podcast. But if you do some digging on YouTube, you can actually find it where somebody re-uploaded. Got a lot of backlash for how the pod went and also deleting it. Anthony Smith is leading the charge. Anthony basically says, you know what you're getting with Bryce Mitchell. You can't just have him on just to dunk on him and not allow him to defend himself. Rampage's response, he admitted that they didn't handle the Bryce Mitchell situation very well, and that's why they took the podcast down. But he also responded to Anthony Smith by saying he needs to shut his effing face. For some reason, Bryce Mitchell on podcasts just seems to always end with people arguing.